Good morning, my multifamily investors. I'm Randy Jenkins, and we're going to do a video on multifamily investments, duplexes primarily, but we'll just go by price and see what comes up. Right now, in this area of Central Florida and on the MLS, Stellar MLS, where properties out of the area have been listed, there are 1,300 properties that we can analyze. So if you look at the map, you can see the area. Now, real estate is local, so we're just going to go ahead and analyze the properties that are somewhat contiguous to our area. We're down to 867 multifamily properties. Now, if you follow my videos, you know that I'm an advocate of buying in the non-flood zone. So let's take out the flood zones. And if you watch this number, I'm pointing, we're at 572 properties. Further, I'm an advocate that we don't buy in properties that are built out of sticks or metal. So my thinking is that now that Florida has her tornadoes, then we want to get rid of the mobile home duplexes and we want to get rid of the frame houses. So that brings us down to 330 properties in this area. And since we know we're all investors, let's take out the high price stuff. So let's take out the higher end, and that brings us down to a little slow because I'm making a video and I've got a few tabs up. There's 153 properties. Now, I have one of these properties, and I want to highlight why I think you should consider it. But let's go ahead and use one car garage as our criteria, since it matches the criteria of the property that I'm marketing, which is the one on Canterbury. So there are 13 properties that we can look at that have at least a one car garage. So normally you would say, well, what are they? But truthfully, the real market is not in the active properties. The actives are the dreams of investors or sellers that are hoping they can get a big number for their property. So really, to analyze the market, we have to look at the solds. And in this criteria, there are 23 solds. Now, what we're going to look at is the days on market. We're going to look at the list price versus the sold price. So here we go. Let's do the first. Let's go up to like $450,000 and see what the numbers look like. So this was sold in 3 days. They were asking $275, and it sold for $280,000. So Ocala is proving over and over on my videos to be where the real opportunity is for low valued, low cost. Value is different. Low cost real estate. So this is $165 a square foot. So let's use that as probably going to be the best deal in the market, as it was the best deal in a price. It likely was the best deal in price per square foot, but we're going to find out. So the next one is coming. It is in Clearwater. They were asking $349,000. It sold for $310,000, which is $196 a square foot. It did it in 202 days. And I don't see the garages, but let's assume that they're there because they sold it for $310,000. If we do this analysis using no garage or 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, we're going to see the prices are substantially less. This one was listed and sold in 4 days, $325,000. It sold for full price at $155 a square foot. And that is cheaper than the other one, which sold for $165 a square foot. Port Charlotte. Here's the challenge. I mean, if you're a Tampa investor, do you want to own in Port Charlotte? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But this is the Burger King school of real estate. You're going to have it your way. All right, in Orlando, $429,000 sold for $330,000. It just goes to show that you can make an offer on anything. This worked out to $220 a square foot. Orlando's a great market. This is in Orange County. This one was only 1,500 square feet for $330,000, $220 a square foot. It appears that because of the slowness of the internet, we are not going to be able to go through all of the properties that I hoped we could. So we'll go through a couple of more. Let's get some up near 400 grand. And in between, I can talk about other things. If you know me, you may know that I have a radio show on Tan Talk Radio where we talk about real estate. Oh, we're up. All right, this one in 9 days, $350,000, sold for $335,000, $190 a square foot, 2004 built property. I'd love for the picture to come up. The rent on this is $1,550 on one side and $1,500 on the other. Palm Coast, not geographically desirable for my Tampa investors, but a nice looking property nonetheless. So if you watch Tan Talk Radio, TANTALK, you'll find that I'm on there on Wednesday nights from 5 to 6. And you don't have to watch it live. You can watch it live, but you can watch the replay on YouTube at Tan Talk Radio. Or you can reach out onto my YouTube channel, Randall Jenkins Real Estate, and you can see the replays. The replays are not quite as good as the Tan Talk version. All right, we've got a new one that just came up in Orlando. They were asking $375,000. It sold for $360,000, which is $200 a square foot. So looking back on the list, $165 a square foot, $196 a square foot, $155 a square foot, $220 a square foot, $190 a square foot, and $200 a square foot. Now, these are the 6 cheapest solds. And obviously, the numbers are going to be different based on the square footage. The higher price one with the smaller number of square feet is going to give us a higher price per square foot. The next one's coming up, $375,000, sold for $360,000. Another $200 a square foot, 1981 built. Split Willow Drive in Orlando. Yeah, I'm on a Wi-Fi. I'm doing a video. I've got too many windows open. And let's face it, my bandwidth, not sure what that is, but my bandwidth is probably being affected. So ultimately, if you're an investor and you own a bunch of duplexes, this was very valuable for valuation. Now understand, we picked the low end. We could have gone into duplexes and found some that sold for enormous amounts. And the price per square footage was likely double what the low end. I mean, it's a bell curve, okay? We are concentrating on the low end because we're investors. And as investors, we want to get the best possible deal we can. Now, I invite you to follow my Facebook page. It's my real estate feed where I put out regular real estate information for my audience. We put out information regarding interest rates, and we do analysis of what's going on in the market. We do the best deal of the day. We put out prints from the various content providers. Homes.com has been putting out some tremendous content. We get content from the NAR, the National Association of Realtors. We get content from FloridaRealtors.org. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity to follow real estate. Heck, you could just go on yahoo.com and do the real estate section and get up-to-date real estate information. What I find is that most of my audience, they're not looking at real estate every day. What they are doing, though, is they're seeing me go by on their feed. And when they see me go by on their feed, it reminds them that if they have any real estate questions, that they can reach out and ask me. Now, I also wrote a book, and I'm going to try to put it up here. It doesn't really work very well. Let's see if I can do it. Wow, that's a unique view. And well, maybe it will. This is called realtoring and ghosting in the time of realting. Ghost realtoring in the time of ghosting. You know, I've done this video twice, and I got a feeling that this isn't going to work since I'm trying to go back to the actives, and my internet is not working. But anyway, this is my book, and in it I have written this because I have a marketing group of realtors who we agree to market each other's listings, and it gives us another arrow in our quiver of why should you do business with me. My marketing group partners and I all market each other's listings, which gives you, the seller, the opportunity to have more than just one realtor marketing your property. And my the market for realtors is fairly challenging right now. It used to be that information was the value that realtors provided to buyers and sellers and investors. But the fact of the matter is that information is everywhere. You do not need a realtor to give you information. You can search online, you can do a mortgage calculator, you can analyze the schools, you can do everything. You can do a mortgage calculator. You don't need a realtor for anything regarding information. What you do need a realtor for is for interpretation. And if you watch my radio show or you read my book, you're going to see that my theory on the market is that we're in what's called a disintermediation environment where information is no longer needed from the realtor. Um, this is likened to what happened with the internet. When the internet was originally introduced, what industries were most affected? Well, travel agents went from being the source for plane tickets to where nobody calls a travel agent to buy a plane ticket. There are some independent travel agents out there now, but they're mostly niche. They're doing tours, they're doing, big groups, they're doing specialty value added. So another industry that was impacted tremendously was the stockbrokers, financial services industry. It used to be that commissioned stockbrokers were compensated for access to the markets. And now you can do free online trading. So there is no advantage to being a commissioned stockbroker. I don't think there are any commissioned stockbrokers now. Everyone is fee based, and they're based on the assets. They're not based on transactions. Well, I dearly wanted to share with you the actives, and apparently we are not going to be able to do it. So we'll just call this an analysis of the solds in the duplex market. And what we learned is the highest priced of the 6 cheapest transaction was $220 a square foot. The lowest price of the recent transaction was $155 a square foot. I'm going to leave now and try to do this again with just the active. So you're going to have to watch 2 different videos to get this full content. Hey, thanks for watching. Wish you the best.